In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can grow your home health agency 3 times faster. And that's not hyperbole. Most home health agency owners that I talk to, they're growing, just not as fast as they want. They've got no lever to be able to put more inputs into a system and get more outputs out. And in a few minutes, I'm going to share my screen and show you the returns that we're getting from current clients. But really quick, let's zoom out. Let's look big picture. So any business, there's 6 ways that you can get clients. Paid media, which is your ads, any type of ad. Earned media, which is going to be your organic reach from posting content. Your own media, which is your prospect list that you've gotten over time. Your outbound, which is like cold messages. You don't really do it in this industry. Think more like business to business, B2B. A lot of you guys listening may have gotten a cold message from me, right? So it works B2B, B2C in this case doesn't really apply. Affiliates, this is the bread and butter for majority of home health agencies. Think about the relationships you built with medical providers, right? Hospitals, professionals, and community and social services. And then, of course, referrals from clients. Almost every home health agency owner I talk to, affiliates really drive 80% of the business, right? 20% maybe from the other sources combined. The good news is that you can still grow this way, especially if you put the heavy groundwork in to build these relationships. It just takes a long time. So, like a lot of the home health agencies that we work with that are doing 50,000 or 100,000 a month or more, or even 200, 300,000 a month or more, they've been around for like 10 years, right? So they've built the relationships. The bad news with this is even if you grow that big, you can't directly control how many clients get sent from affiliates at any time, right? There's peaks and there's troughs, and you hope they'll send you clients. But if you're new, the odds of them doing that's really quite low, right? It's unpredictable. So the great news is you can take control of new client acquisition, just by creating a paid media acquisition system. And right now, there are thousands of families interested in home health care in your area that just haven't made a decision yet, or they haven't even started looking. But with how good ad targeting it is nowadays, you probably know what I'm talking about, right? You're talking to someone about something and then boom, you see an ad for it in front of your face. That's what we do. So the best part is once you prove this system works for you, you can reliably control how many new clients you get each month, where you increase ad spend and you reliably increase the number of clients that you get, right? Where like in the first 6 weeks, you're able to find a reliable customer acquisition cost, right? A CAC. And then once you know this number, let's say it is $500, for every $500 you spend, you acquire a new client once they go through the funnel. Now, what is a funnel? Just so if you've never heard it before, a funnel is just a system that's created to take a person from new lead, right? They see an ad, new lead, and then going to new client. And I'll share my screen really quick just so that you can see this. And we'll go over the numbers for this too. But imagine for Medicaid, I'll show Medicaid and private pay. So for Medicaid, they see an ad. They go, interesting, because I like the offer. For this video, I'm going to not talk about the ads themselves because we'll be here for a while. So they see an offer, they go, interesting, and they enter their information. That's what the point of an ad is, right? So they become a Medicaid lead. Now, the next step to that is obviously someone needs to call them. So we do an intake call within, very fast, within 60 seconds, we give them a call. And then we do a bunch of follow-ups. From there, they have to get a assessment set with a case giver to come out, right? So when that happens, there's a lot of follow-up that has to happen, but then eventually the caseworker shows, and you can see that for each step, there's a certain percentage that goes to the next step. And then of course they get the physician letter, and then 45 days later you get a new authorization. Now, let's just come back to that. I'm getting excited. So private pay, it's similar, right? They see an ad. Oh, interesting. Boom. Opt-in information. Someone needs to call them, qualify them. Once they're qualified, and there's 4 things that you need to have essentially a qualified lead. It's BANTS is the acronym: budget, authority, need, and timing. So they have to have the money to pay for it. They have to have the authority to make the decision. They have to have a need for the service, and then they have to be looking for service within 4 to 6 weeks, as an example. So that is roughly, right, that the funnel for Medicaid and private pay. Now, at each part of the funnel, you want to follow certain processes and take actions that increase the odds of the lead going to the next step, while still only letting, of course, qualified leads come through. So one of the things that we want to make sure of is like, hey, we can get the cheapest lead cost possible. How do we do this? A lot of different ways. But you can see that just by lowering lead cost, it costs less money to get the same client. Even if lead cost is $8, but we improve the speed to contact of every lead that comes in, we follow up more, and we increase the percentage of leads that go to an intake call from 15% to 25%, boom. You can see how that also makes the money go further for ad spend. Now, this is true also with private pay. So you may be thinking, this is great, but how do I know this is going to work for me? Well, we make it super easy for you to ramp up. We don't do a setup fee, no monthly retainer. You just pay us per qualified showed appointment. Once the process is proven and you can clearly see an ROI, you scale up by spending more ad spend and getting more clients. It's that simple, right? And you keep doing this until, number one, you need to improve operational infrastructure to hire more caregivers, more intake coordinators, or more in-home salespeople if you're private pay. Or you just you do it until you hit your TAM, right? Your total addressable market in your area. Because at the end of the day, there's only so many people in the 30 to 50 mile radius of your agency. So once your CAC starts rising dramatically, you either lower ad spend, sit back and enjoy the $500K a month to $1 million a month agency that you created, enjoy the cash flow, or you keep that and you just open another agency in another market and you rinse and repeat. Now, if this is the first podcast you've watched of ours, then you probably don't know about Love and Care. If you do, then this will sound familiar. We helped Love and Care, a home health agency in Texas, at 71 new clients in 6 months on just $14,000 in ad spend. That's the system. So let me share those numbers with you really quick. So for her, this is what it looked like. We got about 2,800 leads over 6 months. At that time, the intake process wasn't that tight. We had to improve it quite a bit. But over that 6 month time, still being suboptimal, 7% went to an intake call, 50% got their assessments set through follow-ups, and then 100% had a caseworker come out with follow-ups. 100% got the physician letter with follow-ups, and then 72 got approved for Medicaid 45 days later. Now, how do we know these numbers that are getting spit out? Because through this, with all the math, $14,000 in this funnel led to $6.6 million in projected revenue, $1.5 million in projected gross profit. Well, it's based on her numbers. So every month, or every new Medicaid client, pays $1,300 on average a month, $300 of gross profit, and they stay for 72 months. She's had her agency for 20 years. So she has really solid data. Other numbers that are super important to know is if we just take these numbers, 1,300 times 72, that means the average lifetime value, or the average amount that a client will pay her over the time that they're with her, is $93,000. Average gross profit is $21,000. That's how we got those numbers. 71 times 93,000, 71 times 21,000 equals those numbers. Now it's going to take 6 months for 6 years, for all those numbers to come out. But look, like, what marketing vehicle do you know that can take $14,000 and turn it into $6.6 million? I don't know any. And of course, like, we have our fees as well. You got to tack those on, but I promise we don't charge $6.6 million to create that result. So we only charge per qualified appointment. So in her case, she had 99 qualified appointments. So that's for Medicaid. So like, if you're doing Medicaid, or you're Medicaid enabled, certified, I highly recommend going Medicaid. The returns are just very, very, very good. Now, private pay, it's still good. It's just not as good. Now, what we would have to do is put your numbers in so that we would know exactly what it would be for you. But let's go off just what I'm seeing as normal. Actually, 18 months is probably normal. That's what I'm seeing. 2,400 for new client revenue, and let's call that like a 30% gross margin. We'll even go more conservative and say like 550. That's fine. So it all depends on what your lead cost is in your area, but we're seeing anywhere from $20 to $30. So let's just say 25. And then what we're doing as well with private pay and Medicaid is what we found in the beginning, that like if we had the client do the intake calls, like someone on their team, They're just never as fast as us and don't follow up as much. So we have our team. We hire someone internally, and they do the calls. So that way you make more. And then, of course, it's going to depend on your numbers, right? What percentage of people end up showing? If you are doing local, like I highly recommend doing in-home appointments because the show rate's extremely high. The difference between getting a 50% show rate and a 90% show rate, because they're at their home and they don't have to go anywhere, is dramatic. And then it's going to depend on your close rate, right? The best agencies that we're working with have over a 70% close rate in-home. So for qualified leads. So yeah, same type of great returns, right? $2,000 of ad spend, that's going to create $326,000 in projected revenue, $74,000 in a lifetime projected gross profit. I mean, tell me a business, an industry that gets these types of returns. I owned a gym and I would have died for these returns. But that's why I'm doing this now, because I see the returns. So in any case, if you're an agency owner who wants to grow faster and potentially even build a home health agency empire, book your agency growth call below with me, or if you're watching this years later, a member of my team, and we'll just plug your numbers into our agency growth calculator, show you your projected CAC, and then map out exactly what 3x growth looks like for your specific agency, and we'll create a timeline for it. And if it's a good fit, we'll get you rocking and rolling. Again, no setup fee, no monthly retainer. You pretty much just pay us as you get new clients, right? That's the name of the game. We want it to be a huge win-win. So click the link below. I'll see you in another podcast and hope I get to meet you personally. Bye.